Thank you. In the past 50 years of WWF's existence, we've worked in 100 countries, and I have to admit that most of our work is focused on terrestrial ecosystems. In the past 20 years, what is long considered to be the stepchild of the natural world, the marine world, has come into its own, and one could only conclude that freshwater systems have been the orphan in the world of conservation. Which is ironic because freshwater systems are far and away the system that is most impacted, most at risk, and is most declined. We produce every 2 years something called the Living Planet Index. The freshwater index, which is a subset of that, has shown a decline in the populations of key species by 30% over the past 30 years, as opposed to 15% for terrestrial species. If you go to some place like North America, the projected mean extinction rate for freshwater species is 5 times that of terrestrial. And now you enter the world of climate change. All these species globally have evolved as have human cultures in response to very precise conditions in water, whether that's temperature or chemistry or availability. And climate change is throwing all that up in the air. Listen to the language of climate change. Flooding, droughts, storm surges, instability, all of these things. If you listen to the language of climate change, it is inescapable to think about water. And we see freshwater systems most at risk because of climate change. There is some hope from our point of view as to how humanity might respond. And I'll suggest 3 things to focus on. The first is to think at the scale of watersheds. If we respond in piecemeal to freshwater conditions without thinking about whole watersheds, we are in for trouble. In Bangladesh alone, there are 54 rivers that converge in Bangladesh that cross more than one national boundary. If you only make decisions, country by country, you will cause trouble for another. The second is to restore the ability of freshwater systems to respond and to function as they historically have. That will build more resilience into the system as those rivers or streams face climate change disruption. And finally, to look at the embedded water in markets and products and how they're produced. We have, in the first instance on watersheds, begun to work with HSBC and other companies and communities in thinking about whole watersheds and how they function. And if you look at the Yangtze in China, where we've restored wetland systems, it enables those communities to respond and weather more variable storm events, weather events than ever before. If you look at embedded water, we've begun to work with the Coca-Cola companies and others in thinking about what is the embedded water in the products they produce. And if you go all the way upstream to the agriculture that produces the commodities that goes into these products, you'll see that the impact is significant. And bringing market forces to bear by recognizing the embedded water in these products is essential, and Coke is leading the way along with other companies. And finally, it's important to remember the voice of the planet, the conditions of these watersheds as we respond. We often look at the human impact, but the impacts on the species that are most at risk is greater than for any other type of ecosystem on Earth. Thank you.
Thank you. As I suggested, we could have